Hey, y'all.
Jenny's got that nice intro. Like that.
If I do say so myself, I really did like the little microwave ding at the
Got
end.
the little spinning naan. Man.
Well, yeah, there was I found a whole bunch of videos of one person that makes videos that puts them on a free site, and they just had all these ones of different foods spinning around.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna use all of those.
All right, so we got some of our regulars in there, waiting for me to talk about food.
Yeah, we're doing food today.
Yeah. This is a good topic. All right, and I'm just gonna start to give you guys a heads up and just a primer on some shit that the average person probably doesn't think about, especially in a time like this, all right, where there might be power problems, food problems, hurricanes, any kind of natural disasters, riots. I don't know where you live, okay? It could be anywhere. How do you eat, if you don't have any power? It's a nightmare because everything in your refrigerator is going to go bad. So you have to eat all that first.
Yep, got to eat all that ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any ice cream.
So you got to have some kind of a way to heat food, keep certain things cold, and be able to. You have to have ingredients that can survive without being refrigerated. Well, imagine if you're trying to make bread, all right, and you don't have a refrigerator. It's fucking tough, all right. So, like for instance, the milk and the eggs and the butter. All right. So that'll be bad. So you have to fucking look at other things. One of the main things that I keep around the house is this. Anybody from Latin America will know what this is. Nido. This is powdered milk.
Fortificada.
Yeah. You can get it from Walmart. And it comes in two kinds. This is the regular, and then there's another one that you can use for babies that's rated for, bottles. But with this, you can complete a recipe if you don't have milk. I use it for that. And you can also use it to make things that you may not have on hand. Like if a recipe calls for cream, you could just use this with a couple teaspoons of cold water and make milk or make cream. And then you can thin it out and make milk. Or if you need coffee creamer, this will work. If you want to cream up a gravy or some kind of a stock, it's in a pan cooking, and you don't want to open up your milk and you use your liquid milk, you can get a teaspoon of this and put it in there. It's just a handy thing that I picked up in living in Brazil. In Brazil, most people, especially if you're living in a favela, this is your milk. It's just dried. The quality of it has gotten pretty good nowadays. It's good. Now, if you were in let's say you were in a hurricane situation, the hurricane's coming, so you're going to have ice chests. And in the bottom of the ice chest, a bunch of melted water, and it's cold. You can pop the drain and drain some of that water out of the bottom of that ice chest right into your Brita water filter and filter it, and then add this to it and make cold milk out of it. So there you go. Yeah, so this is a real important thing.
I have to say too that I either use that or I use the coffee creamer. Because sometimes if I want some fucking hot chocolate or something, and it's I don't really want to make it with milk or whatever. So usually I just kind of because we have one of those pitchers. Everybody in Europe has one, but not that many people in the US have them. Where the pitcher, you just put water in it, it just heats it up, boils it.
Yeah.
So I usually just put 2 scoops of coffee creamer or that, and 1 scoop of Quick, and then pour boiling water on it, and voila.
Yeah.
Delicious.
There's a lot of recipes where you can use this in. It's the nutrition on it's very good. A lot better than say coffee creamer. Coffee creamer has no nutrition in it. It's very high in protein, very high in fat, very low in carbohydrate, and it's good high in calories. So in a survival situation, this will help you. Okay. Now, another one that's good to have is this. Powdered eggs.
Yeah.
All right. They just come in handy. You can make dough with it, cookies, bread. You can just make the eggs themselves, make a big old omelet in a pan, put the ingredients inside the glass pan, and cook it. And then you say, well, if you don't have power, how are you going to cook it? Well, you should have a gas grill. If you got a lid on a gas grill, you can put the fire down pretty low, cover the lid, just put your glass pan right there on top of the grill. It'll cook. But yeah, whole eggs, very, very important in a survival hurricane type situation. And once again, 72 servings in this. That's a lot of eggs. Okay. There's a lot of fat, a lot of protein. Cholesterol is pretty high, but the nutrition's good.
Well, eggs have a lot of cholesterol.
Yeah.
But it's not bad cholesterol. Eggs
Yeah.
are actually really good for you.
Yeah. And if you're in a emergency situation, hurricanes and fucking just survival or whatever, you need that cholesterol. That's all that'll help you.
I don't think I've ever had those just plain. I've had things like made with those, with powdered eggs, but I don't think I've ever, maybe I did when I was younger. I don't think I've ever like actually made like an omelet or something with powdered eggs.
Yeah. It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
You can't really tell the difference.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
can.
figured.
It doesn't taste as good as natural eggs, but at least it was eggs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because man, I love eggs.
At least you ate something.
Yeah.
Now here's something else. Butter flavored Crisco. It's cheap, and it's an excellent butter substitute. It's got little cookies on them. It makes great cookies. I like the Crisco in cookies better than butter. There's something about vegetable shortening. It just gives a different texture, a different flavor.
Because I feel like growing up, when my mom made cookies or baked goods, she almost always used shortening.
Shortening, yeah.
Like nowadays, it seems like most people just use like oil or butter or something like that. But I don't know. Like the shortening was just, I don't know, the shit tasted better. I think.
And vegetable shortening got the United States through the Great Depression. You could do a lot with this, man. You can make a lot. Biscuits, bread, cookies.
Yeah, it was they used to use lard for it, but
right. This was a lot better.
Yeah.
It was a little. I don't know if it was better for you, but it was cheaper. It's probably better for you.
I think it is.
It's probably better for you. I don't know if it tastes as good as lard.
Well,
Lard
no.
tastes fucking great.
Didn't they? Now I don't know if this is true or not, but didn't they used to make back way a long time ago when Oreos first came out? Wasn't the middle of Oreos used to be lard and sugar?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I think it is.
They don't make it with lard anymore.
It's just shortening now, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just shortening now.
But the lard would be even better.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. And then the fourth thing, I don't have it here with me because you know what it looks like, and that's just flour. Flour by the bags. You can get a big bag of flour for $10-15 and make a lot of loaves of bread. And there's a lot of different kinds of bread out there. The Indian naan doesn't require much. It's just yogurt and water. I don't even think there's any yeast in it. And flour.
I think any of those kind of like naan or pita or anything like that, those are unleavened, right?
They're unleavened.
So I don't even
just
think
make the dough. I've made it before, and I don't think there was no yeast in it. It was just water, yogurt. I think there was a little bit of lemon or something in there. And then you put it inside of all-purpose flour and spread it out into a little piece of dough, and you can put it on any kind of hot surface, and it'll turn it a naan. You want a hot stone, like for pizza stone, would be the best, which you can put that in your gas grill. Put the pizza stone in the gas grill, get it real hot. Throw it on there. It'd be just like a tandoor oven.
We've made pizza on the grill a couple of times.
Yeah, on a pizza stone.
On the pizza stone. You put the pizza stone out on the grill.
It's good.
It is really good.
Yeah, it's really good. If you get it hot enough, you can get it above 550 degrees.
Yeah, I thought because the gas grill gets hotter than the oven.
Yeah. And it'll cook quickly, and it'll make a perfect crust as long as you had delayed fermentation going on inside that dough. So, powdered eggs. Good quality powdered eggs. You can get them online. Good quality powdered milk. I prefer Nido. All right. And if you have children or babies, there's a special Nido. It's a little bit more expensive. It's rated for infants. Okay. And then you want to get Crisco. The buttered flavor actually is like the deluxe version.
Yeah.
You can get. They have at Best Value. At what is
Sam's?
that? No, it's Sam's. No.
Walmart.
At Walmart. I think their brand is called Best Value.
Yeah, or Great Value?
Great Value, something like
that.
They sell a Great Value plain one about this big for like $1 or something.
Yeah. So you're making some cookies and shit with that.
Yeah. you could live a long time off of this, out of a bunch of these, and a big old bags of flour, and some yeast, and maybe a little bit of sugar. You could sit there and make bread all day long. And just putting next to nothing on a piece of bread is a lot more satisfying than just, you know what I mean, having no bread at all.
Yeah, bread is carbs are like more filling, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of like the difference between having a salad or having like some vegetables over some pasta or something.
Yeah, and it's,
That'll
you know,
fill you
you
up
can
a lot
make a
more.
broth and thicken broth with a little bit of flour, and, you know, use salt, and then make some kind of a stew, and then just, you know, sop it up with bread. I mean, that's what peasants did in the Middle Ages. They mostly lived off of bread and things that were like bread and beer.
Honestly, I kind of feel like I love soup, but the only
Yeah.
reason to have soup is so you can have like a really nice piece of chunky bread, like to dip in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like the best thing about soup,
Yeah.
no matter what kind it is.
Let me check the conversation.
I want to say too that, and I think we brought this up a little bit before, but we have a lot of canned vegetables and shit like that. And like, we don't use them day to day because we usually get fresh ones. But every now and then, like I said, when we were kind of, rotating out the shit that's in the pantry, I think the one time the favorite thing that we made out of all the, hey, the cans are about to expire and we need new ones.
Mm-hmm.
We made like a big chicken pot pie, right? And we put like all the different vegetables in there. I think we had some canned chicken. We had some canned potatoes, canned green beans, carrots, maybe. But it's just, we went through there and we were just kind of like, oh, look at all this canned shit we have in here. And then we ended up making like a really good chicken pot pie with it. And that, it was still good. I mean, you would never know those were like canned vegetables.
Yeah, Louis says, man, every Mexican kid fucking grew up drinking Nito. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same in Brazil. You know, Brazil had a lot of powdered milk. Because a lot of households in Brazil didn't have power or refrigeration.
Yeah.
So that's how you had to do it. Okay. It's nutritious and it's readily available, and you can use it in a wide variety of recipes. And it just comes in handy too, just having some of that in the cupboard next to right there, where you normally cook, instead of pulling out some milk. You say, now I'm going to save the milk for drinking. Don't use up all your milk to make a recipe when you can make milk. You know what I mean? If you give me a choice between drinking Nito and drinking something out of a carton, I'm going to drink something out of a carton.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you want that for like pouring on your cereal and shit like that.
But I'm not turning a nose up at Nito. If you were hungry, you know what I mean, in a survival type situation, ice cold Nito would be delicious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would just be delicious. If you were hungry, yeah, hell yeah. You would be like a godsend. It's good quality. It doesn't taste bad. You can tell it's not quite the same.
It never tastes exactly the same because it's not exactly the same. I don't know if they make this anymore, but at least in the US, like a long time ago, they used to make like a liquid milk that was shelf stable, Parmalat.
Yeah.
Because I used to get that sometimes. I didn't like to drink it by itself because you could kind of taste that it didn't taste quite the same. But if you put it in cereal or, used in recipes, you couldn't tell the difference.
Brazil had that too. The downside of that is it's not as concentrated.
That's
true.
What
I'm talking about? That can right there fucking makes gallons and gallons, and it weighs a fraction of what gallons and gallons weigh.
It's super cheap and it doesn't take up that much room.
Yeah, if you had to, you could throw that in a damn bug out bag and throw all that shit in the trunk of your car and fucking get the fuck out of Dodge. You know what I mean? Which some people, you're overreacting. No, not in Florida. If a fucking monster hurricane is coming and you're like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because sometimes, I mean, thankfully for hurricanes, we usually have a lot of warning.
A lot of warning, right.
Although they never know exactly where it's going to go, but they're just always kind of like, well, maybe you people might want to, it might not hit, but, just in case. I'm more worried about like fucking tornadoes for some reason, which hurricanes usually bring in their wake. I don't even know how I ended up seeing this, but I saw a video the other day of people in, God damn it must have been in Oklahoma or something like that, or maybe Texas. And it was a couple years back, and this fucking tornado just like tore through their fucking town. And somebody was in a store with a bunch of other people, and they recorded the whole shit like on their phone. Like everybody in the store was okay because they all were like, holy shit, they saw it coming and they all ran and hid like in the storeroom. But then they came out and like just the whole town was fucking leveled. It was the fucking freakiest thing I'd ever, and just like the sound of it was horrifying, and like everyone's screaming and shit. And it's, so
Mango Badger's talking about store margarine. All right.
yeah.
Yeah. We have margarine too. Crisco is not margarine. There's a big difference.
Yeah, it's like lard, but it's made with
Yeah.
vegetable shortening instead of animal fat.
It's very heavy, very dense. You can execute bread a lot better, and you can execute recipes a lot better with margarine. Excuse me, with Crisco versus it's shortening, vegetable shortening.
Yeah.
Butter flavored vegetable shortening or just regular shortening. They're both good. I prefer the butter flavored. The butter flavored, for cookies and shit like that. Well, actually, you can use it in anything. It's just more of a deluxe thing. So, no, it's not margarine. Margarine is better, say, like on a prepared piece of bread as a spread. It's better like on a potato, But, in an emergency, you could use that Crisco on a potato, too. It'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I don't
butter flavored Crisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't just put regular Crisco.
Nah,
That probably wouldn't. That would just taste greasy. It wouldn't taste like anything.
Yeah. But this is, what's that say for weight? I don't have my glasses. What? Here, I can put my glasses on.
Yeah, you got glasses
This is heavy.
right
It's
there.
several pounds just in this thing. And the yield is high. You can make a lot with this. And this is only $1 something, maybe $2. So you can stack a lot of these in a damn fucking cupboard. All right. You could carry a lot of these. You could carry one of these in a rucksack, and it would feed a whole party of people for a week, 2-3 weeks maybe. I don't know what you were doing.
Louis asked if we got earthquakes in Florida. No, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I think there's been a couple, but not that anyone would even really notice it.
I don't worry too much about the hurricane. Actually, what I worry about is the repercussions of the hurricanes. Okay, because I lived through Katrina, and I was in Louisiana at the time. What killed everybody wasn't so much the flooding. That killed a lot of people, but they were mostly like people in convalescent homes that couldn't swim. They were just abandoned in there, and they just drowned. Okay, the shit was like out of The Walking Dead. What killed everybody was loss of power. If a highly dense population area like New Orleans goes without power for 3 days, fuck, that's it, man. It's over. It goes Mad Max. When people miss 9 meals, they start killing other people to get food. And there was lots and lots of murders. There's tens of thousands of people still missing. They're dead. Okay, many thousands of cases of rape. It was fucking bad, really bad. It was totally lawless. There were places on certain streets there were just dead dudes laying out on the street, shot up. Because if they came into the fucking neighborhood, they were just shot. Because they were going in there to try to loot food. Which I don't really fucking blame them, but they'll kill you to get your food.
Yeah.
But if you're hungry, you're going to do whatever you can to feed your kids. And some neighborhoods were ready because they kind of took it seriously, and other neighborhoods didn't take it seriously, or they didn't have the money to stockpile. Low-income areas, they don't have money to stockpile food. They're the first ones to crack. And they go out looking for food, and they're going to go to the neighborhoods that have the food. And the neighborhoods that had the food in Katrina shot them up. And then the cops came to try to stop it. They shot the cops up. And then cops all started to defect. What happened to the cops? The cops ran. They all ran. Wouldn't you? Your family was at home. You had to take care of your family. The whole fucking system was fucking falling apart. And it was really more to do with the loss of power than anything else. That's what did it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the worst I ever went through, and this might have been before you moved here or before I met you. I think it was 2004, I want to say. That's before you came here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 4 hurricanes in a 6-week period. None of them were devastatingly horrible, but just the fact of getting smacked with one, and then like a week later there was another one, and then a week later there was another one. So our power was out for 8 days, and our street was flooded, and there was like a tree across it. So also we had to boil all the water, obviously, because the sewage lines broke. So you couldn't drink the water out of the tap.
Yeah.
But luckily we had kind of got ready for it. We didn't have a lot of that kind of stuff, but we had shit like, power bars and that kind of crap. So we didn't like starve to death, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it wasn't fun, obviously, because it was like fucking August or September. So it was like 4 million degrees outside. And it was like,
Yeah. It's funny because, like, people who are from the South, because of these natural disasters that have happened within our lifetime, we don't depend on any kind of government because that was never there. Wasn't there for Katrina. It's not there for any of these power outages. It's not there for any of these fucking. It's just not there. All right. So you have to protect yourself. If you're gonna wait around for the government to put your power back on, or to fucking help cook you some fucking food, or to help come and feed you, that food might be a month away.
well, yeah, because there's going to be a lot of people in the same boat as you.
Yep. And they're gonna have to come down there and set up shit, and then if the area is dangerous, they won't set it up. That was another problem with Katrina. They tried to get down there to feed people, but it was so dangerous that people didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Because you showed up, you'd be shot, fucking killed. They'd take the fucking supplies from you. They'd rape the women and then just fucking run away. It was fucking bad, really bad. If you were in that fucking Astrodome, I think is what it was called. No, was it Astrodome? What was the thing called? Astrodome, I think it was called, right?
That's in Houston.
Superdome.
Yeah.
The one that was.
I mean, like I said, I think the Astrodome is in
Superdome, I
Houston.
think is what it's called. They had a bunch of them up in there, man, and that was fucking living hell. Just hot, 100% humidity, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. There's no plumbing, so they were all shitting in buckets and pissing everywhere, and everybody got driven out of the damn stadium. They couldn't stay there but like 2 days. It was fucking horrible. They tried to bus people out. Most of the buses were fucking underwater. It was just, And then they sent the cops and later on the National Guard to go in there and collect up guns because people were shooting each other. And the only people that gave up their guns were like old ladies. They gave up their guns and then later on they got killed. They took all their shit. So it's just in a disaster. A lot of times, if it's real bad, like Katrina, if I was there, I wasn't in Ground Zero. I was outside of it. I was in Baton Rouge at the time, but I was helping the police in support. I was working for a company that was supporting the state police. Man, those state policemen were coming back and telling just fucking horror stories, and they covered a lot of it up. Because it was just fucking a national tragedy. It was a national embarrassment what happened out there. A lot of that shit. A certain cops went rogue. And the National Guard went in there and shot them up and killed them. They hid that. They killed about 6 cops. Yeah, there was a band of cops, a band of New Orleans Police Department guys, or at least they were in those uniforms. They may not have been NOPD. I don't know, but they told me that they were NOPD, running around raping women and stealing shit, and the National Guard fucking kind of got a kill order on them and went out there and fucking killed those dudes. They were fucking heavily armed, AR-15s and shit, cop cars, fucking just bad shit. Dudes went rogue. I guess they figured they weren't going to survive it anyway, so they just started acting a fool.
Suppose so.
It looked like the end of the world.
Yeah.
It just did. And they did no fresh water. They were drinking filthy water. A lot of them died from sicknesses and shit later. Because they were just drinking the water that was going through the city. It had fucking motor oil in it, raw sewage.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, what the fuck else are you going to do?
They didn't have nothing else to drink. That's what they were drinking. They didn't have any way to purify water. So I think about this kind of shit, you know what I mean? It wasn't that killed most of those people in Katrina. It was the power outage.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to have. I mean, we have a gas grill. We have, a pantry that's full. We also have another closet that's right here outside of this office that also has a bunch of food, like oatmeal, shit like that.
Yeah, dry food stuff.
Yeah, so other than, the shortening and the powdered eggs and powdered milk, which are obviously really good, what else would you advise people have in their pantries? I would say like peanut butter.
Yeah, peanut butter, powdered peanut butter. I got them both. Another good thing is the protein shake mix, the big ones, like from you can get them from Sam's or whatever that bodybuilders use for their protein drinks. Because if you're not getting meat, that's a great meat substitute. You can just make Nido.
Nuts are good to have too, I think.
Yeah, but pound for pound.
They're expensive.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, pound for pound as a source of protein, that whey protein, which I have it. Muscle Tech, what they call it. It's chocolate, vanilla, they have strawberry. You can get a big container of it. It doesn't weigh much, but 2 scoops with inside of a couple cups of, say, Nido, even water in an emergency, would be about like what a chicken breast is in nutrition. And it weighs a fraction of what a chicken breast weighs. And it's in a much smaller area. Doesn't require any refrigeration. Now, you could almost kind of live on that, but not. You want to have the ability to make bread out of these things, have powdered eggs, have some milk that you can make up. You know, you want to be able to make things, you know. And if you run out of propane, you're going to have to get out of hibachi, you know, or a small griddle or something, and hook it up with wood, and if you have to start tearing down a fucking abandoned house in an emergency, you tear down a damn abandoned house to get the wood out of it, or just burn the furniture and cook on that. Just cooking it, cut everything into small pieces and put it inside a hibachi. Be efficient with it, because if you have to do that, you do that too. And then put a cover over the hibachi so you can bake something like bread, even though the temperature won't be. You can try to stabilize the temperature with a thermometer and add more fuel to the fire. I mean, they did that in the Middle Ages, you know. They were cooking bread back then, too. They usually just cooked it at real high heat, though.
Yeah.
High heat. Oh, that looks good. Take it out.
That's close enough, whatever.
That's close enough.
It's the Middle Ages. We don't know any better.
If you're hungry, that's all you need, though.
It probably tastes okay.
Yeah. Well, what I would suggest, though, is to do what they would do in India, and that's to make that naan.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that seems like, and we eat that with like pretty much everything. Yeah. Like shit, yesterday we scrambled some eggs and some sausage and just like wrapped it up in a piece of naan or a pita or whatever. Yeah,
because you don't need a real oven to make naan. You just need a hot surface.
Yeah.
So you can have a pan over a fire, a pan on a grill over with the fire underneath it. Get that pan real hot, or a pizza stone. Get that stone real hot and just throw pieces of naan on there and flip it over. It only takes a few seconds, a few minutes on each side, and it's ready. So you can sit there and make bread, make a sandwich, put a damn squirrel in the middle of it, roll it up, eat him up. Yeah.
Put some cinnamon and sugar on there.
Now, if you talk about hunting,
roll it up.
If you talk about hunting things like squirrels and fucking sparrows and shit, don't worry about a 22. Just use a fucking pump air rifle with a pellet rifle. That's the best way. Okay? You're just wasting ammo, 22 rounds on fucking squirrels. Just use BBs or pellets.
Yeah, they're just little.
Pop their little heads. They'll fall out of the tree. The thing is, you'll find that to make a full meal, you need about 10 squirrels to fill them in.
Like I said, they're very small.
There's not much there. But it is some protein. And you just gut him, cut the head and the legs off, cut him down, then pull the fur off of it, and you'll have it look like a little man. Looks like a little man.
A little bitty tiny
little man.
You can pretend it's a little tiny man if you want to, if that's what you're into.
Little man, little rat man. I'm gonna eat
this little man.
Yeah. You can put a spit through it.
I love squirrels.
Put a spit through it and then cook him over a fire. It doesn't take long. There's not much meat there.
No.
Okay. But you could pull the meat off the bones and put it on a piece of bread and just, eat it like that.
Gramthars Hammer says ramen noodles. Yeah, we got a bunch of those too.
Yeah, got a bunch of those. The problem with ramen noodles is there's no nutrition.
They're not real nutrition.
No nutrition. It's just
They're good
filler.
though.
Just filler.
Yeah, just make you not be hungry.
Yeah.
Danny Rolling Ghostface says hardtack.
Yeah. Yeah, no flavor. No flavor, no real nutrition. If you do what I said, get those 4 things with the flour, and then get some Muscle Tech, which is it's whey protein, flavored whey protein. You can make a high protein drink out of all that. The drink is the nutrition is very similar to a chicken breast. That's pretty good. That's real good if you're in a survival situation. You'd only need one of them a day and then some other filler stuff to kind of get you through. You would be losing weight if you were already lean and you were trying to carry a lot of muscle. You'd start losing muscle. You'd probably want about 4 cups of that a day with some filler. Like 4 chicken breasts a day. But it's very lean, high in protein. The flavor's good. It's just not quite as filling as a piece of meat, but the nutrition's
Well, you
there.
do what you gotta do.
You do what you have to do. If you threw in some bread with that, you'd feel a lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Gramthars says, I have a couple hundred little bottles of booze, mainly to barter with, but also to make a stiff drink to lessen the misery.
You can use 9mm rounds and 22 rounds and 5.56 rounds as money too. If it ever got that bad, you could use ammunition as money. But I don't think it'll ever get that bad, particularly, because growing up in South America, parts of Brazil were pretty much in what would be called stage 3 collapse, and it was still pretty functional. And I was comfortable there, but it was chaos. It was true anarchy. There was no cops that you would recognize as cops. It was just gangs, militias, drug cartels, and guys that were dressed like cops that were just watching their own ass. They weren't doing what you would call enforcing any kind of laws. They were issuing tickets because that's their gig. That's where the money comes from. The money doesn't come from enforcing laws. It's just over in South America. It just comes from writing tickets because one, that's an opportunity that the cop can get a bribe out of you. If you pay him part of it, he'll take the cash instead of charging a ticket. So in other words, a bribe is 50% of what the ticket cost is usually.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to give all these tickets. He's going to get all these bribes. All right. But he will write a certain amount of tickets a day because that's the station. That's the unit's cash. He's got to keep the cash flow going to the unit. Usually when you have societal collapse, no one can be trusted. Everything becomes very corrupt very quickly. Everything becomes scamified because people need these scams to survive. So the scametry increases. As civilization decreases, scams increase, which you see a lot of that today. It's just starting to look a lot like Brazil. But it's going to be a lot more violent because there's a lot more hatred and anti-American propaganda. The propaganda is telling Americans to hate and kill one another, basically. What it's telling them to do. I think it's coming from outside. I think most of it's from China. I think they got mad about that trade war. And the institutions are pretty rotten in the United States, and there's a lot of political divisions, and political and racial divisions, and they're being maximized by forces inside that are making profit and forces outside that are getting fucking a strategic leg up on it. They want to invade Taiwan. Russia wants to invade Crimea and Ukraine. So a civil conflict inside the United States will help two other superpowers. So they're going to ramp that up. I don't live in the fantasy world where everybody's friendly. Nah, everybody's out to get you. That's closer to the truth. And knocking America out of the world system would most of the world would really like that because the U.S. has fucking abused a lot of countries over the years. If you go back to the 1800s and everything, what they did in Central and South America during the Banana Wars, and most people don't even know what that is. New York banksters fucking collapsed dozens of Central American and South American elected republics just to fucking reduce the cost of bananas and to get involved in the banana fucking trade. And it's not really part of U.S. history. We don't even know it.
I think Company Man did a video about that.
Yeah.
Well, he did a video about Chiquita.
Yeah.
And he talked a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of that happened. And we did weird things to Brazil. Well, those countries all know about it, but it's not taught here in the United States. Like, American banks basically raped Brazil consistently since the 1950s. What they did to them is fucking... They actually crushed Brazil fucking 5 or 6 times. So a lot of the chaos you see in Brazil actually was because of New York bankers. Yeah.
Mango said, never tried squirrel. What's it taste like?
Squirrel tastes kind of like dark meat chicken, except the pieces are smaller.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Or kind of like rabbit, but it's a little more tender because the fibers are smaller. You kind of feel like a murderer. I went out there and fucking shot up a whole bunch of them to make a stew. And when I got done, I was sticking them through my belt. I had a damn fucking fur skirt
Squirrel
on.
skirt.
And
That's fucked
came
up.
back home, my dad said, "Dad, look at all these squirrel I got, man. We have a feast." And he's chuckling. He goes, "Man, that won't fill either one of us." And I said, "Look at all these squirrels, man. This is 20, 30 squirrels." He goes, "You'll see." So cleaned all the
like
squirrels.
a little squirrel apocalypse.
Yeah, squirrel apocalypse. And then fucking ended up with 2 piles. A big old pile of squirrel trimmings and fur and shit on one side and guts. And a little bitty pile of little naked men on the other one. And I'm going, "Man, that's all it is?" He goes, "Yeah, now watch when you boil them and all the meat falls off." So you boil them in a stew and all the meat falls off. And you got to get the bones out of there because the bones are tiny. And then once you separate the meat from the bones, then you can take the broth and the meat and pour that into the pot where you had your vegetable stock going. So you kind of, you got to separate the bones. They're little. And you realize that really all that made was about it must have been 20 of them, and it was kind of like it made the equivalent of like 2 beef patties. That's how little.
Hardly seems worth it.
Yeah. So I stopped hunting squirrel.
Well, yeah,
I
like
stopped sorting
squirrels are
Man,
cute,
I had to
man.
kill 20 of the damn things and got like 2 beef
They
patties
probably
out.
still talk about
Yeah,
you.
they're like, "That motherfucker came
in that
thinned
squirrel
out the
society. They're
population."
like they tell the
Yeah.
stories. They're tiny little squirrel children.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a massacre.
Well, you could kill one rabbit. You could kill one rabbit and get more meat than that.
Yeah, I mean,
So
rabbits aren't big either, but they have like a
Yeah.
lot more meat on them.
Yeah, and you only have to kill one.
Yeah.
I'm out there just damn this fucking slaughter apocalypse on these fucking squirrels. They're going, "No!" And they're fucking trying to get away from you. You had to shoot them 2 or 3
Aw.
times with 22 because the fucking 22 rounds just blow right through them. Doesn't do a lot of damage. It just kind of pierces them. See, it's got to be a headshot. Funny, man. They'd be shot up, jumping from limb to limb with fucking one leg dangling and shot to pieces and shit. And then by the time he falls out of the tree, he's just fucking all shot up.
Squirrels are hardcore.
And he's looking at you like, "No, don't do it."
Like,
I'm
why
like,
did you do
"Oh,
this to
man."
me?
Yeah. So I felt bad about
You
it.
asshole.
Yeah.
You're so much bigger.
They're little, and little creatures don't apply any resistance to a bullet as it passes through them. So
Yeah.
none of it is transmitted into them.
Yeah.
A pellet rifle has a lot less energy, and it smacks them a lot harder because it has less energy. So there's like more resistance, and it seemed to kill them a lot better.
Yeah, because if shit's just going to go through them,
It
and they're
just-
just going to
yeah.
keep running around. That's
Yeah.
really
It
upsetting.
didn't do much damage to them.
Do you remember when we were walking on the trail one afternoon and we found that little squirrel that he had either fallen really far out of a tree or he'd been hit by a bicycle?
I
I'm
think he
not
fell out of
really
a tree.
sure. I think he did too. He didn't look all fucked up or anything. We brought him back to the house,
Yeah, I tried to bring him back to life.
tried to bring him back to life. Pookie was super excited. She was
Yeah.
like, "What you got there? What you got
She
there?"
knew what it was.
We had to like take him in this bathroom right here and close the door because Pookie kept like,
Yeah.
she was like yelling at the door, like, "Let me in there, let me in, I
He
want to
wasn't
eat
dead.
it."
He was alive.
Yeah, he was still alive.
But he was unconscious.
Yeah, and we tried to keep him like
Yeah.
we thought he might be okay, but then we put him out in little blankets and put him out in the garage. But the next day
He
was
would just
dead.
run in a circle every now and then, and he would go. But
Yeah.
but he never opened his eyes.
He must have fallen out
He'd
of a
open it,
tree.
yeah. Well,
on his
we
head.
called Dr. Matt. Dr. Matt says, "Yeah, they fall out of trees all the time and hit their heads on the way down." And he says they got little bitty fragile skulls, and
Yeah.
and it swells up, and they never make it. He says they never make it.
And the trail is not dirt; it's
No.
paved.
I found him in a he was in the ground, fucking head first in an ant bed, and the ants were eating him.
Yes, we're
Remember
like,
that?
yeah, we can't leave
The
him
answer
like
started-
that. It's like,
He hadn't been there long, though.
no, he hadn't.
A few minutes.
I think we found him on the way back, so he must have
Yeah.
fallen out like when we. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really sad. We were kind of hoping that he would live, but he didn't. He lived through the night and then he just died the next day. But all right, you
That's it. That's all I got
Have
to say
anything
about
else you have
unless
to-
anybody has any.
like I said, any other ideas about shit you have in the pantry or whatever? I don't even remember what all's in
about
there.
it.
There's so much crap in there. Other than like canned beans and whatnot. We got a lot of dried beans and pasta and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So I guess either we'll do another show, like a food show tomorrow, or we'll do a movie show tomorrow. We haven't really decided. We'll figure it out. But yeah. So thanks everybody for dropping by as usual. And we'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like regular. So we'll see you then.